Ann here from Backroad Buddies, and the video we want to share with you today is about our preparation items for our Season 6 travel season in 2024. So we're sharing 10 items that we did in preparing for our travels. We're hoping that these will help you think of things that you need to do before you hit the road, or remind you of things you may have forgotten. So if you want to just jump to a particular item, there's a timeline in the description below, so you can jump right to a particular item. Item 1 is test lowering the spare tire. Now this isn't exactly a maintenance item, but we failed to do that during our first year of owning the Echo. And that turned out to be a mistake. Not that we ran into an issue, because we never had to change the tire. But once we were trying to practice doing it, we realized that we needed some tools to really make that easier, or even almost somewhat possible, because the spare tire is located kind of in the middle underneath the vehicle, and there's a little mechanism you have to get a wrench in to crank it down and back up, and it's really hard to reach. So we actually found that we needed some tools to make this a lot easier. So these tools included, let me get the names. This is a 1/2-inch extendable socket wrench with a universal joint on it, so you can kind of change the angle there, along with a 24-inch extension, universal joint adapter, along with the 2.5-inch extension. So we'll do another video later that kind of shows how you raise and lower that spare, because it's a little tricky. So in addition to all those wrenches and extensions, there was 2 other items we added to our kit. One was a lug nut wrench. This helps tighten and loosen those lug nuts easier. And then we also found that a number 3 Phillips screwdriver helped pop those, well, I guess it's not really a hubcap or hub cover, off. So those were additional tools that we added. So we recommend practicing raising and lowering your spare if you have a spare, and practice changing a tire, so you know where all the jack points are on your vehicle, so you don't damage your vehicle by jacking it up in the wrong place. And just make sure you have all the tools with you, because the last thing you want to do is, when you're stranded on the side of the road in the dark trying to figure out how to do all this and realize you don't have the proper tools with you. It's not a good experience. Not that we've done it, but we've heard lots of stories. So practice. Item 2 is change the batteries in the TPMS sensors. Now, a TPMS sensor is a tire pressure monitoring system. If you don't have one, we recommend you getting one, because it'll help prevent issues if, you know, the tires either get too high pressure, too low pressure, temperature builds up, or whatever. It's a great way of monitoring your tires. We use the Tire Minder, and it has 6 transmitters, because we have 6 wheels on the Echo. So the transmitter actually goes on the stem valve of the tire, of each tire, but there's a little battery in there. So that's kind of on our annual to-do list, is replace all those batteries, because the system works great when it works, but if the batteries die, then it's not doing you any good. So replace those on a regular basis. Item 3 is replace the cabin air filter. Yeah, this is another item that we plan on doing every year. We go down a lot of dirt roads, not a lot, but it doesn't take much to get a lot of dirt inside the rig and in the air, and those filters will get dirty and clog up. So it's always nice to be able to breathe fresh air. Now on the Transit here, it's a little tricky to replace it. It actually sits behind the glove compartment, so you actually have to pull the glove compartment out and pull that filter out to replace it. Item 4 is to touch up the paint on our camp sign. So we travel with a little wooden camp sign that we made. So it has our name on one side, and I don't know if you can see it, says we'll be returning on the other. So when we leave a site and we're coming back, it's nice to set this out to let people know we aren't gone for good. We're coming back and the site is still occupied. However, this is wood. I mean, even though we paint it with a good paint, it sits out in all kinds of weather. So after a season, it needs to be touched up. We've used this now for 2 seasons, and each time we've had to touch it up when we get back. So just be aware of that on things that you leave out in weather. They will wear, no matter how hard you try to make them weatherproof. Item 5 is change the batteries in our propane tank sensors. Now the Echo has 2 small propane tanks, and we can switch between the 2, but we like to know what the levels of them are, especially if we're coming up to a cold night and we know we're going to be running the furnace. We really don't want propane to be running out in the middle of the night and that furnace turning off. Now there, you can set it to automatically switch over, but somehow we just really don't trust that to happen. And it's just a good idea to know what the levels are, so we know, oh, we use one tank until it gets low, and then we go refill it and switch to the other tank. So it's just really nice to know. But again, if the batteries die, the sensors don't do you any good. So we actually use these Mopica sensors. They just stick on the bottom of the tank with a magnet, but they do have a battery in them, so another battery to change every year. Item 6 is replace the detector batteries. Now the Echo has a smoke detector here in this living area, and then back in the bedroom it has a carbon monoxide detector. So we just have it on our list to replace those batteries every year, and that's kind of a safety issue. We want to make sure that those alarms will work when we need them to. Item 7 is to put new windshield wiper blades on. Now the blades that the Echo came with, and I'm assuming this is the way it came from the Ford factory because this is built on a Ford Transit, is the, let me get it right here, on the passenger side it was a 20-inch blade, and on the driver's side it was a 30-inch blade. But for the life of us, we could not find a 38 or a 30-inch replacement blade, so we ended up going with a 28. It seems to work. There's just like a little bit of a gap where they don't quite overlap, so there's like a little wedge near the bottom that doesn't wipe clean, but for the most part it works. So if you know of someplace we can get a 30-inch wiper blade, please let us know, because we would love to put a 30-inch back in there. Item 8 is apply a rubber gasket conditioner to all the exterior doors and windows. So this is the conditioner that we use, and we put this so all of the doors and windows have kind of like a rubber seal around them, and you want that to stay in good condition. You don't want them to dry out and crack, because then you'll be getting water inside your rig, and water can do a heck of a lot of damage if it doesn't get dried out right away. So in addition to all the windows, there's the exterior compartment doors that we put it on that. There's the entry door into the Echo, and we put it on that. And we also put it on the seal around the driver and passenger doors of the Ford Transit itself. Item 9 is lube all the locks and the retractable step mechanism. So for lubricant and protector, we use T9, and so we spray that inside all the little locks, because sometimes they can get kind of sticky, and then the stairs, retracting stairs, can kind of get a little noisy if it doesn't have a nice smooth mechanism there. So we do both of those. Item 10 is apply toilet seal conditioner. Now all RV toilets have like a little flapper seal at the bottom of the toilet bowl And that's to keep the sewer gases from coming back up into the rig. So you want to make sure that that seal remains tight because you don't want a stinky RV. So we actually use this toilet seal here. So at the beginning of the season, you just pour it in there on top of that flapper and just let it sit for 8 hours. Now this is something we do at the beginning of the season, and we also do this about once a month while we're traveling, just to really make sure that that seal stays sealed. Thanks for watching. If you want more details, especially links to items that I mentioned in this video, look in the description below for a link to our related blog post, so check that out. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Ta-ta for now.